The first time a package disappeared from my porch, I chalked it up to a random thief. The second time, I got suspicious. By the third time, I was almost impressed someone had nerve. So I did what any slightly paranoid tech-savvy millennial would do. I installed a hidden camera on the porch light. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood ruled by a one-woman dictatorship HOA President Karen Whitmore. Her bleached bob, obsession with code violations, and clipboard made her infamous. You couldn't so much as change a flower pot without her citing a guideline from the 1993 HOA handbook. She once fined my neighbor for having two decorative wind chimes. No joke. But until recently, she mostly kept her evil in the realm of petty fines and neighborhood snitchery. Then came the porch pirates. Or should I say, porch pirate. 2 days after I installed the camera, a package arrived from my sister home-baked cookies, a book, and a custom mug that said, "World's Most Tired Human." I watched it get delivered in real time and waited. Sure enough, less than 20 minutes later, the feed showed a woman briskly walking up my steps. Hoodie, sunglasses, mask, real low-budget Mission Impossible vibes. She didn't look at the camera. She didn't hesitate. She grabbed the box and walked off like she owned the place. But here's the kicker: her perfume gave her away. I know that sounds crazy, but Karen douses herself in this god-awful floral fog that can knock a hummingbird out of the sky. She calls it exquisite garden. I call it weaponized grandma. And as the woman walked away from my porch, the faint, flowery cloud that lingered through the screen was unmistakable. So I pulled the footage, zoomed in, and wouldn't you know it? A tiny glint of Karen's signature gold K necklace peeked out from under her hoodie. It was like she wanted to get caught. Now, I could have gone straight to the HOA board, but they're basically her puppets. Calling the cops felt dramatic. And honestly, I was mad but also curious. Was this a one-time thing? A weird lapse in judgment? Or had Karen been running a full-on package heist ring? I decided to wait. Over the next 2 weeks, I laid bait. I ordered small, cheap items: a set of coasters, a book of dad jokes, a tiny rubber chicken keychain. Every time, like clockwork, they vanished within an hour of delivery. And every time, my porch light camera caught the same figure: hoodie, sunglasses, mask, perfume, necklace. Like a suburban Scooby-Doo villain. But I wasn't just gathering evidence, I was planning a trap. I had something special in mind for the next delivery. Something Karen wouldn't be able to resist. Something that would take this from funny to legendary. And trust me, she wouldn't see it coming. Karen had been hitting my porch like it was part of her daily cardio. At this point, I could practically set my watch by her crimes. So I figured if she wanted to steal, I'd give her something unforgettable to steal. I ordered a nondescript cardboard box, filled it with something extra special, a glitter bomb. Not just any glitter bomb, this was a custom rig I found online. When opened, it launched a cloud of ultrafine glitter, a puff of fart spray, and a recorded message that said, "Smile for the camera, Karen," in my most smug tone. Petty? Absolutely. Worth it? You'll see. I placed it on the porch, dead center, in full view of the camera. Then I sat back with a bowl of popcorn and waited. Right on schedule, she showed up. Hoodie, mask, sunglasses, and that signature cloud of exquisite garden. Like she was auditioning for a role in Porch Pirates of the Caribbean, HOA edition. She scooped up the box, tucked it under her arm like a football, and strutted off. I didn't even have to wait an hour. 30 minutes later, I got the alert from the camera I'd secretly set up near her house too. Yes, I got that serious. Karen stepped into her garage, probably thinking she'd scored big. I hit record. The moment she lifted the lid, chaos erupted. First the glitter blue, gold, pink, and red exploded like a unicorn had a meltdown. Then came the fart spray strong enough to evacuate a middle school gym. Karen yelped, stumbled back, tripped over a folding chair, and went down like a sack of overpriced HOA rulebooks. But the cherry on top? The message. "Smile for the camera, Karen." She froze, looked around like she'd just been caught robbing a bank. She tried to swipe the glitter off her face, but only smeared it deeper into her skin. Then she spotted the camera I'd mounted on a neighbor's tree pointed directly at her garage. Her scream probably registered on the Richter scale. Now, at this point, most people would apologize, slink away, or maybe even try to explain. Not Karen. Oh no, Karen went nuclear. The next morning, she banged on my door like the FBI. When I opened it, she was still glittery despite her best efforts and fuming. "You think this is funny?" she barked. I raised an eyebrow. "What exactly are you referring to, Karen?" "This." She held up the empty box, now just a glitter-splattered corpse of cardboard. "You tampered with mail. That's a federal offense." I couldn't help but laugh. "Karen, it was my package. Delivered to my porch. That you stole. On camera. Multiple times." She turned red whether from rage or leftover blush, hard to tell. "This is harassment. I'm reporting you to the HOA. "Oh, good," I smiled. "You want to tell them you've been stealing neighbors' packages? Or should I send them the footage myself?" She hesitated, that flicker in her eye pure panic. She wasn't used to someone pushing back. But she wasn't done. That afternoon, a letter showed up on my door. Official HOA letterhead, accusing me of suspicious activity, tampering with neighborhood decorum, and my personal favorite, causing unnecessary sparkle-related disturbances. Karen was trying to go on the offensive. But I had more footage, more than she realized. And I was just getting started. The HOA letter was laughable. I half expected it to end with, "P.S. Your lawn gnome is too judgmental." But instead of storming into the next board meeting guns blazing, I played it cool. Karen was rattled. That was clear. But she wasn't backing down, she was escalating. Over the next few days, the pettiness reached Olympic levels. First, she issued me a formal warning for having unauthorized porch decorations. I guess my Amazon packages were now seasonal decor. Then, she knocked on my neighbor Carl's door and tried to convince him I was running some kind of illegal glitter bomb business. Carl, an ex-Marine with zero patience for nonsense, called her a walking HOA horror movie and slammed the door in her face. But the best part? My camera caught her standing in front of my house with a leaf blower, trying to blow glitter back onto my porch so she could claim I was the one creating neighborhood hazards. Honestly, it was getting impressive. So I figured, fine. You want a neighborhood hazard? Let's make it official. I compiled a highlight reel, my very own Karen's greatest porch hits. It included footage of her swiping boxes like a raccoon in yoga pants, her glitter bomb moment in full HD glory, the leaf blower incident, a slow mo of her slipping in her own garage with Enya playing dramatically in the background. I uploaded the video to a private link. No public shaming. I just wanted the HOA board to see the queen bee in her natural, criminal habitat. And then I got smart. I printed off copies of the HOA rules, highlighted every regulation she'd violated. Theft, trespassing, harassment, tampering with personal property. I even found a clause about disruptive activity. Glittery explosions probably qualified. I delivered the packet anonymously to the HOA vice president, Ruth, the only person on the board who wasn't under Karen's control. Ruth's been quietly collecting receipts on Karen for years. This was her jackpot. 2 days later, an emergency HOA meeting was called. Now, normally, HOA meetings are the cure for insomnia. But this one? Front row seats to a drama fest. Karen arrived all smug and clipboard, ready to throw accusations about my mail pranks and neighborhood disturbances. She didn't realize Ruth had already shared the video with the entire board and a couple neighbors. For context, the room went quiet as Ruth pulled out a tablet and hit play. There it was, Karen, hoodie up, perfume cloud trailing, snatching my box like she was auditioning for CSI, Suburbia. Then boom, the glitter bomb. The message, her scream, her fall. Someone snorted. Someone else gasped. One guy started coughing to cover a laugh. Karen turned a shade of purple I didn't know existed. This is illegal surveillance, she blurted. Ruth raised an eyebrow. On his property? For his packages? Karen, this isn't surveillance. This is self-defense. Karen stammered. But he tricked me. So you admit you took them? Dead silence. For the first time since I moved in, Karen didn't have a comeback. But she wasn't done fighting. Not yet. As the board began discussing disciplinary action, Karen pulled out her phone and made a call loud enough for everyone to hear. I'd like to report a resident. Suspicious activity. Possible criminal behavior. She was calling the cops. On me. The room went still again. Except this time, I was ready. Because that next box she stole? Oh, it wasn't just glitter. It had something else inside. Something that would change everything. Karen hung up the phone like she'd just dropped a royal decree. They're on their way, she said smugly, straightening her already glitter-speckled blazer. You people want evidence? You'll get it. The room sat in stunned silence. The HOA board looked at each other, unsure whether to laugh or duck for cover. Ruth, bless her, simply crossed her arms and whispered, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I sat back in my chair, calm as a monk in a thunderstorm. Because while Karen thought she was about to bring down the hammer, she didn't know the last package she took wasn't just a glitter bomb, it also contained a GPS tracker and a Bluetooth audio chip. I'd planted both inside a cheap power bank and wrapped it in fake product packaging. If Karen opened the package again or moved it, I'd know. And I did know because the package was currently sitting in the back seat of her car. The police showed up about 15 minutes later, two officers, looking mildly bored and already done with the day. Karen practically sprinted to them. Officers, thank goodness you're here. There's a dangerous resident in this neighborhood. He's been leaving trap packages with explosives, glitter, chemicals. I've been targeted. One officer pulled out a notepad. And your name? Karen Whitmore, HOA president. I stepped forward calmly. I'm the alleged trapper. Would you like to see some footage? Karen spun toward me. He just admitted it. Admitted what? That I left my packages on my porch? Sure, absolutely. And I've got every second of it on video, including you taking them, without permission. The younger officer raised an eyebrow. You installed a camera? Two, actually, I said. Would you like to see the clips? They did. Oh, did they ever? We moved the meeting to the clubhouse's big screen. Karen stood frozen as her crime reel played again, except this time, with a little bonus. I pulled out my phone and brought up the tracking app. That last package you took, Karen? It's in your vehicle. And the audio recorder picked up you bragging to someone on a call. Something about teaching the porch prankster a lesson and how you're cleaning up the neighborhood one box at a time. The older officer sighed. Ma'am, is that true? Karen's eyes bulged. I didn't know it was his. I thought he was leaving it there on purpose. Like a joke. I pulled up an email confirmation showing the item order, delivery time, and the tracking notification. Karen looked like she was sinking into the carpet. The officer closed his notepad. Ma'am, we're going to need to ask you to step outside. We'll be taking a statement. You may want to speak to a lawyer. Karen exploded. You're arresting me. He's the one who trapped me with glitter. The younger officer chuckled. Glitter's not a crime, ma'am. But stealing mail? That's a federal offense. The room erupted, half gasps, half stifled giggles. Karen was escorted out of the clubhouse in a daze, sputtering about conspiracy theories and misleading packaging. Ruth leaned over and whispered, I've waited years for this. But the story wasn't over. Because the police investigation uncovered something else. Something even juicier. It turns out Karen's porch piracy was just the tip of the HOA iceberg. And what they found next? It blew the entire neighborhood wide open. Karen thought her biggest problem was a glitter bomb and a few stolen packages. What she didn't know, what none of us knew, was that her sticky fingers had been dipping into more than Amazon deliveries. 2 days after her dramatic police exit, a plain white van rolled into the neighborhood. 3 people in suits stepped out and walked directly into the HOA office. Not the usual HOA drama. These folks weren't here for noise complaints or lawn violations, they were from the state auditor's office. Apparently, when Karen's little porch theft stunt went viral among the local precinct thanks to Officer Lopez sharing the video with a few colleagues, someone higher up took notice. One of the officers recognized Karen from a fraud tip-off involving misused HOA funds from a separate investigation. Small world. The auditors started digging hard. Turns out Karen wasn't just a porch pirate, she was an embezzler, too. For the past 3 years, Karen had been quietly funneling HOA funds into fake improvement projects. She'd bill the HOA for repairs that never happened, landscaping that was never done, and even a security camera upgrade that conveniently existed only on paper. Over $48,000 had gone missing. And while she was threatening residents over unpainted shutters and holiday lights past New Year's, she was using HOA money to pay for things like salon visits, a luxury dog grooming membership, and get this, a subscription box for imported cheese. When the auditors confronted her, Karen cracked like a dropped wine glass, claimed she was entitled to compensation for her tireless community work, claimed the board had agreed in spirit even if there were no actual votes, claimed the receipts were faked by haters. No one bought it. By the end of the week, Karen was officially removed as HOA president, banned from holding any future leadership roles in the state, and hit with criminal charges: theft, fraud, and misuse of community funds. But the neighborhood wasn't done with her yet. Ruth, now acting HOA president, called a special town meeting this time, with food trucks, music, and a Karen-free zone banner hung proudly over the clubhouse. At the meeting, Ruth publicly thanked me for exposing the whole mess. Sometimes, it takes a little glitter and a hidden camera to bring the truth to light. People clapped. Carl raised his beer. Even Officer Lopez stopped by, off-duty, and gave me a fist bump. Karen's house went up for sale shortly after. Rumor has it she moved in with her sister in a gated community, ironically, one with no HOA. I guess even she realized the irony. As for me, I now run the HOA's new Community Accountability Committee, a glorified title for keeping people like Karen from ruining everything again. I installed actual security cameras around the neighborhood, and neighbors started leaving thank you notes on my porch instead of Amazon boxes. Sometimes, justice isn't loud. It's petty, sparkly, even a little stinky. And sometimes, karma wears a glitter bomb. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.